Today's video might be quite interesting for you all. I'm quite interested in doing this video myself, and yeah, you're going to see in this video that something crazy could be happening. 2029 could be a crazy year for the whole earth. I'm going to be showing you why, okay? But first I want to say to you all, something is coming. Something is coming, okay? It's all good and well when people are calling us crazy and stuff, but something is coming. The technocrats and the billionaires, the elite, are preparing for what's coming. As you can see here, Peter Thiel, he's one of the main technocrats, okay? He's a tech giant, tech billionaire. Recently, he's been talking about the Antichrist, saying that the Antichrist is here, is near, he's coming, and what have you. He's talking about the Antichrist, right? He's planning to get out of America, and he's planning to get out of America and go somewhere else. Okay? Peter Thiel and all of the tech billionaires are building doomsday bunkers in other countries, not in America, in other countries, New Zealand and places like that. Okay? So look. You've got your three main here. You've got like Sam Altman. You've got Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Facebook and all the apps, Meta, WhatsApp, Insta. He owns everything. Everything we use, they own. They're the tech giants, the billionaires in America. All the ones that have met with Trump recently discussing their AI and their technology that they're going to push on the earth. Okay? They've all sat around a table with Trump discussing this, doing billions and billions of dollars investments into what's coming. They've got big data centres going up everywhere, all over the whole of the United States. Okay, it's coming here as well, gradually in the UK. They're building these big data centres to store all of our data in. Okay, something is coming. It's not just us saying it. There are news articles out there. Something is coming. They're preparing for what's coming. And it says in the Bible in Revelation about the rich men, the mighty men, they run to the bunkers, they run to the mountains and say, hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. Okay, and then Jesus says, their wrath has come, and who shall be able to stand? And I find it interesting how all the billionaires are building bunkers in different countries outside America to escape what's about to come. Now, Wormwood could be Apophis in 2029. There is a meteoroid coming near Earth in 2029, the closest one we've had. Tom Horn, there was a guy called Tom Horn, he said that it could be Wormwood, which makes sense. He said it could be Wormwood, right, in the middle of the tribulation. So in the middle of the tribulation, you have your 3.5 years of peace and safety under the Antichrist. Okay, and then you have the halfway point, right? If you do the calculations, guys, from when Trump signed the covenant in Egypt in 2025, remember what kicks this whole tribulation off is Daniel 9:27. What kicks the final 7 years off is Daniel 9:27. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the middle of the week, in the middle of the 7 years, he will put an end to sacrifice and offering, and on the wing of the temple will come the abomination that causes desolation. So the week is 7 years, the final 7 years that precedes the return of Jesus Christ. So we have 3.5 years of the Antichrist and his peace, and then we have 3.5 years when they're enforcing the mark of the beast and the worship of his image, right? And when he sets up this abomination on the wing of the third temple. If you do the maths, Trump signed this Egypt peace covenant, peace agreement with 20 countries in 2025. If you go from 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028 and a half would put you halfway in 2029. Apophis is coming in 2029. The middle of the tribulation, the third trumpet that's blown, is Wormwood. Apophis that's coming in 2029 might be the star that falls from the sky that pollutes all the waters. Do you want to know what's very interesting about this? it makes sense that they're going to use Wormwood as the next catastrophe on the earth. For the last 3.5 years, the mark of the beast system. So, Apophis hits in 2029. So we have 3.5 years since the covenant was signed. Egypt, Donald Trump signed the covenant in Egypt with 20 nations. So that might have been the Daniel 9:27 peace covenant confirmed with many. We might be in the first year of the tribulation. I'm not saying for certain, but we might be in the first year of the tribulation of the final 7 years. Because, right, the rider on the white horse with a crown, he does peace. Well, 2026, Donald Trump announced he was the head of the chairman of the Board of Peace in the year 2026. This year might be the first year of the tribulation. And if you count from when he did the Egypt peace deal in 2025, you get 2026, 2027, 2028, halfway through 2029. 3.5 years, the first half of the tribulation. Apophis is coming in 2029. It might be Wormwood. It fits in with the timeline.
If you go watch the program's archive, you'll see Skywatch television host Derek Gilbert studying something on his MacBook. Unknown to me while I was talking, he was searching a Hebrew calendar and checking whether anything interesting would be happening 3.5 years before the date I was talking about, involving when Apophis will strike the earth. He was doing that because prophecy believers believe the Wormwood event will happen in the middle of a 7 years of Great Tribulation. So you back up 3.5 years earlier, and he's trying to see if there's anything interesting going on then.
Tom Horn was right. If you go from 2029 when Apophis is to hit, he's saying, right, that Apophis 2029 is the midway of the tribulation, and that might be Wormwood. Listen, he's asking if anything interesting happened 3.5 years before 2029. Well, it did. Trump signed the peace deal in Egypt in 2025, which is 3.5 years that takes you to Apophis in 2029.
Tom, you mentioned 3.5 years. If we take this impact as the midpoint of the 7-year period, if you back up 3.5 years from that, you wind up in the fall of 2025. And I just want to point out the Feast of Tabernacles falls between October 7th and 13th of 2025. Add 3 years and 6 months, and you're right at April 13th of 2029.
Will a pre-tribulation rapture, catching away of the saints, happen 3.5 years before the arrival of Apophis?
He didn't get to see it because he died. This was like 9 years ago when they were talking about this. They've been watching this for years. Tom Horn said Apophis is coming in 2029, right? And he, back then, before 2025 even came, he said, research if there's anything interesting that's going to happen in 2025. Obviously, there was nothing there at the time because it was before 2025. But he's died. Tom Horn died. He didn't get to see it. He said that from the halfway point, he said from 2029 when Apophis hits, right? If you go 3.5 years, you get the fall in 2025. Trump signed the Egypt peace agreement, the covenant, in the fall of 2025. I think that was the beginning of the tribulation. And I think that Apophis in 2029 is Wormwood. Because Wormwood is the third trumpet, which is in the middle of the tribulation, before the final 3.5 years when they're enforcing the mark of the beast. He was right. He died. He didn't get to see it, but he was right. Something interesting did happen 3.5 years before 2029 Apophis. The peace agreement in Egypt was signed by Trump with 20 countries, which clearly was the Daniel 9:27 covenant he confirms with many countries for 7 years, 7-year tribulation. We might be in the 7-year tribulation. And if this is correct, okay, and Apophis is Wormwood, and that peace agreement in Egypt was the Daniel 9:27 covenant, the beginning of the tribulation, then the pre-tribulation rapture is false. So now what I would say to you is, if the rapture, the catching up, is to happen, it's going to happen around the 6th seal before the wrath. Okay? It's probably, people, those alive and remaining are probably going to have to be caught up in the 6th seal before the judgment comes on the whole entire earth. Yes, you're right. Some of you who talk about the rapture, who say about the 6th seal, those who are alive and remaining, yes. The 6th seal could be the rapture where we're took up, yeah, before the final wrath that's poured out. Apophis could be Wormwood.
Unknown to me while I was talking, he was searching a Hebrew calendar and checking whether anything interesting would be happening 3.5 years before the date I was talking about, involving when Apophis will strike the earth. He was doing that because prophecy believers believe the Wormwood event will happen in the middle of a 7 years of Great Tribulation. So you back up 3.5 years earlier, and he's trying to see if there's anything interesting going on then.
Yes, there was something interesting going on then in the fall of 2025, 3.5 years before 2029 Apophis. Trump signs a peace deal, yes. It happened.
Tom, you mentioned 3.5 years. If we take this impact as the midpoint of the 7-year period, if you back up 3.5 years from that, you wind up in the fall of 2025.
You see, he was right. You end up in the fall of 2025, 3.5 years before 2029 Apophis was to hit the earth. Tom Horn, they were all studying this before 2025. Tom Horn died. He didn't get to see that he was right. He wanted to know if there was anything interesting happening in the fall of 2025. Okay? 3.5 years before Apophis in 2029. It was the Egypt peace deal that Trump signed in the fall of 2025. And now it's 3.5 years to 2029 to Apophis. So the Apophis in 2029 is the middle of could be the middle of the tribulation of the 7 years. The Egypt peace deal that Trump signed in the fall of 2025 is 3.5 years before Apophis hits in 2029. We know that Wormwood, happens in the 3rd trumpet in the middle of the tribulation, in the middle of the 7 years, before the final 3.5 years, the beast system. It matches up biblically on the timeline perfectly from the covenant that was signed in the fall of 2025. We might be in the 1st year of the tribulation, guys, the final 7 years before the return of Christ. We might be in the 1st year of the tribulation. Okay? This is why all of the American technocrats are moving out of America and setting doomsday bunkers up in New Zealand and other countries. Are they preparing for Apophis? Do they know that it's Wormwood? And all the waters are going to be polluted? Is that why they're storing all this water in their doomsday bunkers? They're storing water and food because they know that a catastrophe is about to happen. And where's it going to hit? It's going to hit America.
April 13th, 2029. NASA told you it would miss. They lied. This is a newly declassified simulation. The asteroid Apophis is on a direct collision course. It's a rock the size of the Empire State Building, moving at 70,000 miles per hour. Impact point, Kansas City, Missouri. First, a flash, brighter than 100 suns. Then a shock wave, a 3,000-foot wall of fire and debris engulfs the Midwest. Within an hour, global firestorms, dust clouds block the sun for a decade. It's not a matter of if, but when. Your entire future depends on one question. Are you prepared for the day the sky falls?
There's an asteroid the size of the Rose Bowl headed towards Earth. It's called Apophis. Apophis, named for the Egyptian god of death and darkness. It'll have a close approach to Earth in the year 2029. It will come close enough to Earth to dip below our orbiting communication satellites. That will be the closest, largest thing we have ever observed in the history of our observing the universe. The uncertainty in its orbit at this moment is such that for that passage, there is a range of orbits it could have, which if it goes through what we're calling the keyhole, Earth's gravity on it will be just right. That the next time around, it will hit Earth 7 years later, April 13th. If it goes through the center of the keyhole, it'll hit the Pacific Ocean 500 kilometers due west of Santa Monica. It'll plunge into the Pacific Ocean to a depth of 3 miles. At that depth, it will explode, cavitating the ocean with a hole 3 miles wide, 3 miles deep. That impulse will send a tsunami wave that will basically wipe out the entire west coast of the United States and the east coast of Asia.
So it's going to hit the United States. It's going to wipe out the United States, guys. Is that why all the Americans are going to New Zealand and going to Argentina, Peter Thiel, Argentina? They're building doomsday bunkers in other countries. The American rich people are. Because Apophis in 2029 might be Wormwood, and it's going to hit America. That's why they've shown us all these movies like 2012, The Day After Tomorrow. They always show us these movies, Escape from New York, Escape from LA, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. We're going to be getting into that in a minute. Because in the beginning of that movie, they show the robots attacking the Earth, and it says 2029 on the movie Terminator 2, Judgment Day. 2029, the same year Apophis is going to hit. It's all fitting in together. Okay? I think it's happening, guys. So, America's Mystery Babylon, the tall buildings, the cities full of riches and wealth. Okay? Sitting on many waters. Okay? It's Babylon. It's Babylonian. Okay? And Jesus says, come out of her, my people. Come out of America. Come out of Babylon. Come out of Mystery Babylon. Like I told you, escape. They've made movies. Look what they're telling you in the movies in the title. Escape from New York. Escape from LA. Escape. The Day After Tomorrow, New York. Look, under the apocalypse. 2012, look, America, apocalypse. Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her plagues. Her sins have reached to heaven, big buildings, and God have remembered. Mystery Babylon's America, and I'm telling you, judgment is coming to America. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. What were they doing in the movies? Merging man with machine, AI, and implantable chips. So like I told you earlier, Apophis 2029, 3.5 years before that, Trump signed the Egypt peace agreement in 2025 in the fall. Tom Horn was right. Something interesting happened in the fall of 2025. He confirmed the covenant with many nations, 20. Okay, 3.5 years up to 2029, Apophis is coming to the earth. Middle of the tribulation, the third trumpet, Wormwood, might be that. Then there's 3.5 years of the mark of the beast in the beast system. So it all fits the timeline, and even the movies are portraying it, showing it. So, and look, at the beginning of Terminator 2, okay, the movie, remember I told you Apophis is 2029, right? Which people are saying is the middle of the tribulation. Now, look in Terminator, Judgment Day. Look at what happens. You will see white writing come up on the screen at the beginning of the movie. It says 2029. And that's all the cities have been destroyed and the robots are coming out, killing everybody. AI, guys, artificial intelligence. Now, I can't play the music because of copyright. I don't want copyright. But look at the white writing that comes up at the bottom of the screen. Los Angeles 2029 AD. 2029 it said, guys. Look, 2029 it said. And look at what happens in 2029 in the movie. At the beginning of the movie, it says in Terminator 2 Judgment Day, before the robots come out of the destruction of America and start killing everybody, it says Los Angeles 2029. Same year Apophis is going to hit. Okay? Do you understand where we're going now? I think Judgment's coming to America because of the AI and the chips, the implantable chips. They're building Skynet real life. So we've got Apophis in 2029. We've got 2029 in Los Angeles. We've got robots killing everybody in Terminator 2 Judgment Day in the year 2029. And then guess what else we've got happening in 2029? It's the end of the Parliament for Labour in the UK. And what did he say by the end of the Parliament's going to happen? This is what they want by the end of their Parliament. The end of their Parliament is 2029. Digital ID.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
So 2029 could be a very hectic time for this planet, especially America, okay? So, what did you think about Tom Horn's prophecy? He died, he didn't get to see it, but before 2025, like 9 years before 2025, he was saying, like, I wonder if there's anything interesting that's going to happen in 2025, because it's 3.5 years before Apophis hits in 29. Obviously, he wasn't here for that. He didn't see that Trump signed the Egypt peace agreement. There was something interesting that happened. It was a peace agreement with many countries, 20 countries, which is the Daniel 9:27 prophecy of confirming the covenant with many for 1 week. The week is 7 years. 2029 could be the middle of the tribulation, which means the rapture is going to happen at the 6th seal. It's not a pre-trib rapture. It's a pre-wrath rapture, not a pre-tribulation rapture, because I think we may already be in it. Let me know what you think about it, guys, anyway. And if you want to be saved, believe in the gospel of Christ, death, burial, and resurrection, written in 1 Corinthians 15:3-4. For I delivered unto you first of all that which I also received, how that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures. And he was buried, and he rose again the third day according to the Scriptures. Believe in the gospel of Christ, death, burial, and resurrection, and you shall be saved. Till the next one, God bless you all.